Have you ever sat in a crowded room and felt utterly, devastatingly alone? Not because no one was talking to you, but because no one was really seeing you. You laugh at the right moments. You nod. You participate. You blend seamlessly into the rhythm of the conversation. But inside, there's a silence so vast it feels like you're underwater, watching life happen through thick glass. You've tried to explain it before, to friends, to family, to yourself, but the words always come out wrong. I just feel different. And they smile kindly, reassuringly, and say, everyone feels that way sometimes, but that's not it. This isn't occasional loneliness. This isn't a bad day or a mood. This is a bone-deep awareness that you exist on a frequency most people don't tune into. And the cruelest part? Your ability to feel everything, to understand everything, to see the invisible currents beneath every interaction is exactly what isolates you. Carl Jung called this the burden of the awakened soul. He said that the journey to becoming who you truly are, what he called individuation, doesn't begin with connection. It begins with profound, sacred, and often unbearable aloneness. Because to truly know yourself, you must first step away from the collective dream everyone else is still sleeping in. And that step feels like exile. If you've ever wondered why your emotional intelligence feels more like a curse than a gift, why depth isolates you instead of connecting you, why the more aware you become, the lonelier you feel, this video will answer that question. Not with comfort, but with truth. The question is, are you ready to understand why you feel this way? And more importantly, what this loneliness is preparing you for? Let me ask you something. When was the last time you had a conversation that fed you? Not a pleasant exchange, not small talk executed well, but a conversation where you could speak from the deep well of what you actually think and feel, and the other person didn't just listen, they met you there. If you're pausing right now, searching your memory, that's the answer. Most emotionally intelligent women go months, sometimes years, without that experience. And the ache it creates is unlike any other form of loneliness. Because you know how to connect. You're exquisitely attuned to others. You can read the room before you even enter it. You sense when someone is lying, not from their words, but from the microtension in their shoulders. You feel when a smile doesn't reach the eyes. You know when silence is comfortable and when it's defensive. But here's the paradox Jung understood deeply. The more you see, the less you belong. He once wrote, loneliness does not come from having no people about one, but from being unable to communicate the things that seem important to oneself. This is your exact experience. You're surrounded by people. You have friendships, family, colleagues, but you can't say what you're actually thinking. Because when you try, one of three things happens. 1, they look at you like you've suddenly started speaking a foreign language. 2, they change the subject, uncomfortable with the depth you've introduced. 3, they respond with a platitude so surface level, so utterly disconnected from what you just shared, that you feel more alone than before you spoke. And so you learn. You learn to edit yourself in real time, to lighten what you say, to soften your observations, to laugh when you mean to weep. You become a translator of your own soul, constantly converting your inner language into something digestible for those around you. And it's exhausting. Jung called this living from the persona, the mask we wear to fit into society's expectations. But for emotionally intelligent women, the persona isn't just exhausting. It's a betrayal. Because every time you dilute your truth to make others comfortable, you abandon the very part of yourself that makes you who you are. Your depth, your awareness, your refusal to stay on the surface when there are oceans beneath. Here's something Jung observed that will either devastate you or set you free. Most people live unconsciously, not because they're unintelligent, not because they lack goodness or worth, but because they've never been forced to wake up. They move through life reacting, not responding, repeating patterns without examining them, feeling emotions without understanding their origin, forming opinions without questioning where those opinions came from. Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." And most people never make that journey. They live in what Jung called the collective unconscious, a shared pool of unexamined beliefs, cultural scripts, and inherited behaviors. They don't question why they want what they want. They don't ask why certain things trigger them. They don't wonder why they repeat the same relational dynamics over and over. They simply continue. And there's a kind of peace in that, a simplicity. But you can't unsee what you've seen. You can't unfeel what you've felt. You notice the patterns. You ask the uncomfortable questions. You see the invisible threads connecting a person's childhood wound to their adult defense mechanism. And this awareness, this refusal to stay asleep, makes you incompatible with unconscious living. It's not that you think you're better. It's that you exist in a different reality. Imagine you're the only person in a room who can see color, and everyone else sees in black and white. You try to describe the sunset, the way orange bleeds into pink, the depth of indigo, and they nod politely, but their eyes are blank. They can't see it. And after a while, you stop trying to explain. Not because you want to withdraw, but because the gap between your experience and theirs feels unbridgeable. That's the loneliness of the emotionally intelligent woman. She's awake in a world that's still dreaming. You carry things others don't even notice. You walk into a room and immediately sense the tension between two people who are smiling at each other. You hear what's not being said in every conversation. You feel the emotional weather of every space you enter, and it clings to you long after you've left. Someone tells you they're fine, and you know they're fracturing. Someone laughs too loudly, and you feel their desperation for approval. Someone goes quiet, and you sense the storm inside them. And you hold all of this, not because you choose to, but because you can't turn it off. Carl Jung understood this burden intimately. He spoke of the phenomenon of psychic porousness, where certain individuals have thinner boundaries between themselves and others. They absorb, they attune, they carry. And if you've ever come home after a social gathering and felt like you need 3 days of silence just to feel like yourself again, this is why. You weren't just present at that event. You were holding space for everyone's unspoken emotions, processing energy that wasn't even yours. This is not weakness. This is not sensitivity that needs to be toughened up. This is the architecture of your soul. But it makes connection complex. Because most people want you to be light with them. They want the version of you that entertains, that soothes, that reflects back what they want to see. They don't want to meet the depth of what you actually carry. And so the loneliness compounds, because you're not lonely for people. You're lonely for people who can hold the weight of what it means to be you. Jung called the journey to becoming your true self individuation. And he was very clear about one thing: this path is walked alone. Not because you're abandoned, but because no one else can walk it for you. Individuation is the process of separating from the collective, from the unconscious inherited beliefs and behaviors, and discovering who you are beneath all of that. It means confronting your shadow, the parts of yourself you've denied or hidden. It means questioning everything you were taught to believe about who you should be. It means sitting with the terrifying question: if I remove all the roles, all the expectations, all the masks, who am I? And this process, by its very nature, isolates you, because the people around you are often still living from the collective. They're still following the script. And when you step off that script, when you start asking different questions, making different choices, refusing to perform in ways you once did, you become unrecognizable to them. Not because you've become cold or distant, but because you've become real. And real is uncomfortable for people still hiding. Jung said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." But he never said it would be easy. He never said it wouldn't cost you relationships, invitations, belonging. He never said you wouldn't spend long nights wondering if you've made a terrible mistake by choosing truth over comfort. But here's what he did say: the loneliness of individuation is not permanent. It's a passage, a necessary stripping away of false connection to make room for true connection. You're not losing people. You're outgrowing versions of yourself that required you to stay small, to stay safe, to stay asleep. Let's be very clear about what emotional intelligence actually is. It's not just empathy. It's not just being nice or intuitive. Emotional intelligence is a form of consciousness. It's the ability to observe yourself and others without judgment, to recognize patterns, to sit with discomfort without reacting, to feel the full spectrum of human emotion and not be destroyed by it. Jung believed that consciousness was the ultimate goal of human development. He said, "The sole purpose of human existence is to kindle a light in the darkness of mere being. And that's what you're doing, whether you realize it or not. Every time you pause instead of react. Every time you ask, why do I feel this way? Instead of numbing the feeling. Every time you choose honesty over harmony. You're kindling that light. But light reveals. And not everyone wants to see what's been hidden in the dark. When you're emotionally intelligent, you illuminate things people would rather ignore. The dysfunction in the family system, the unspoken resentment in the friendship, the performance in the relationship. And people often respond to that light not with gratitude, but with defensiveness. They tell you you're too sensitive, too intense, too much. But Jung would say you're not too much. You're simply conscious in a world that rewards unconsciousness. And that will always feel lonely until you find others who've also chosen to wake up. Jung made a critical distinction that most people miss. There is loneliness of the ego and loneliness of the self. Loneliness of the ego is what most people experience. It's the fear of being excluded, unloved, forgotten. It's the ache of wanting to belong and not finding your place. It's painful, but it's also fixable. You can soothe it with distraction, with surface-level connection, with staying busy. But loneliness of the self? That's different. That's the loneliness you feel when you're disconnected from your own soul. When you've abandoned your truth for so long that you no longer recognize yourself. When you're surrounded by people but you've lost you in the process. And here's the paradox. Emotionally intelligent women often experience both simultaneously. They feel the ego loneliness of not being met by others. But beneath that is the deeper, more sacred loneliness of the self, calling them home. Jung said, "Your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakes." The loneliness you're feeling right now is not a mistake. It's an invitation to stop seeking yourself in others and to finally, courageously turn inward, to meet yourself in the depths, to see your shadow, your light, your wholeness, and to build a relationship with your own soul so profound that external loneliness loses its power. Right now, you're in what Jung called the liminal space, the in-between. You've left the collective, but you haven't fully arrived at your true self yet. You're no longer who you were, but you're not yet who you're becoming. And this space is terrifying because it has no map, no guardrails, no guarantees, but it's also sacred. Every mystic, every artist, every person who has ever truly transformed has had to pass through this space. The desert, the dark night, the void, and the loneliness you feel here is not a sign that you're doing something wrong. It's a sign that you're doing something necessary. Jung said, "In all chaos there is a cosmos, in all disorder a secret order." Your loneliness is not random. It's purposeful. It's stripping away everything that is not truly you so that what remains is unshakable. So here's your first practice. Every day for just 5 minutes, sit in stillness. Not to meditate, not to fix anything, but to simply be with your loneliness. Don't scroll it away. Don't call someone to distract yourself. Just sit with it. Place your hand on your heart and say, "I see you. I'm here. I'm not leaving." You're not trying to make the loneliness go away. You're learning to be a compassionate witness to it. Because when you stop running from your loneliness, it begins to speak. And what it says is this: you're not alone because you're broken. You're alone because you're becoming. The world has taught you that your emotional depth is a liability, that you feel too much, that you're too intense, that you need to lighten up. But Jung would say the opposite. Your depth is not a flaw. It's your genius. He believed that those who feel deeply are the ones who will heal the world, because they can't ignore suffering. They can't bypass pain. They feel it, and in feeling it, they transform it. But to reclaim this as power, you must stop apologizing for it. Stop shrinking to make others comfortable. Stop laughing when you want to cry. Stop pretending the shallow conversation is enough when your soul is starving. Here's a practice Jung himself used: active imagination. Once a week, set aside 20 minutes. Sit with a journal and ask your loneliness, "What are you trying to tell me?" Then write, without editing, without judgment. Let the loneliness speak through your hand. You'll be shocked at what emerges. Often, your loneliness isn't asking for more people. It's asking for you to stop abandoning yourself in favor of fitting in, for you to honor the part of you that thinks differently, feels differently, is different. When you do this, something miraculous happens. The loneliness doesn't disappear, but it transforms. It becomes solitude, a chosen, sacred aloneness where you finally meet the one person you've been searching for all along: yourself. You don't need more people. You need the right people. Jung spoke of psychological kinship, souls who recognize each other not by surface compatibility, but by depth of consciousness. These are rare connections, because most people are still asleep. But when you meet someone who is also awake, someone who has also walked through their own fire, the recognition is instant. You don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to perform. You can speak in your native language and they understand. But here's the shift you must make. Stop trying to force connection with people who can't meet you. Stop exhausting yourself trying to translate your depth into something they can digest. It's not your job to wake people up. It's your job to honor your own consciousness and trust that the universe will bring you those who can match it. This doesn't mean you become cold or isolated. It means you become selective. You offer your depth only to those who have earned it, and you stop feeling guilty for that boundary. Jung said, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. But if there's no reaction, if you pour yourself out and nothing changes, nothing deepens, that's not connection. That's depletion, and you're no longer available for that. From now on, you ask yourself before every interaction, does this person have the capacity to meet me? Not perfectly, not always, but genuinely. If the answer is no, you offer kindness, but you keep your depth for those who can truly see it. When you stop abandoning yourself to fit in, something profound happens. You become a permission slip for others. You don't have to say a word. Your very presence, your refusal to perform, your willingness to exist as you are, gives others permission to do the same. Jung understood this deeply. He said that the greatest gift one person can give another is not advice, not solutions, but the courage to face their own depths. And you do this simply by having faced yours. The emotionally intelligent woman who has walked through her loneliness doesn't become cold. She becomes a sanctuary. Other women sense it immediately. In her presence, they can exhale. They can stop pretending. They can speak the unspeakable, because she's already been to those depths and she survived. This is the ripple effect of your individuation. Your healing doesn't just heal you. It heals the lineage of women behind you and the generations ahead of you. Here's the final truth Jung would want you to understand. Loneliness and solitude are not the same thing. Loneliness is the ache of disconnection. Solitude is the peace of reunion with yourself. And the journey from one to the other is not about finding the right people. It's about becoming the right person to yourself. When you've done that work, when you've sat with your shadow, honored your depth, and refused to betray yourself, the quality of your aloneness shifts. You're no longer waiting for someone to complete you. You're already whole. And from that wholeness, real connection becomes possible. Not as a need, but as a choice. Not as a rescue, but as a meeting of two sovereign souls. Jung once wrote to a colleague, "Loneliness is the poverty of self. Solitude is the richness of self." You're not poor. You never were. You're simply transitioning from loneliness to the richness of your own company. And that is not isolation. That is homecoming. So if you're feeling lonely right now, I want you to hear this. You're not broken. You're not too much. You're not defective because deep connection feels impossible. You're awake. An awakening is, by its very nature, a solitary journey. But it doesn't end in isolation. It ends in integration, where you carry your depth not as a burden, but as a gift. Where you meet others not from desperation, but from fullness. Where you finally understand that the loneliness was never punishment. It was preparation. For the moment you could stand in your truth without apology. For the moment you could love yourself without condition. For the moment you could offer your soul to the world, not because they asked for it, but because you finally trusted it was worth offering. Carl Jung spent his entire life studying the human soul, and his final message was always the same. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. You're not lonely because you're failing at that. You're lonely because you're succeeding. And one day you'll look back at this season and realize, the loneliness wasn't the end of your story. It was the beginning. If this resonated with something deep within you, like and subscribe not just to follow, but to continue this conversation with yourself. Honestly, patiently, with the respect your soul deserves.